It's showtime. Welcome to Puro Pinche Sports. I'm your host, Jose Garza, and tonight we got a lot of basketball coverage to go on right now. Oh, shoot. He's making a late entrance. We're already on. He doesn't have headphones on. We'll wait for him a little bit. But welcome with us tonight is Trey Parker. Trigger Trey is on. We are ready to
What's up,
go.
everybody?
And we are going to be talking a lot about the draft tonight, bro, as well as the new champions, as well as the drama.
Yes, sir.
And he's coming on right now. My co-host is here.
What's up, my man?
What's up, Art?
What up?
All right, we are live, guys. We are prepared. Art, you got the draft on the side because I know I do. I know Trey does. Oh,
I don't actually. I'm about to do it right now.
All right, go for it. Well, the Orlando Magic have selected Paolo Banchero, aka Patrick Mahomes' clone, as the number one pick. I mean, Trey, what are your thoughts on that? I know we were just talking right before we started.
Yeah.
We thought it was going to be someone else.
I
What are your
didn't
thoughts
see
on this?
that. I was expecting a little bit of Chet, but I was not expecting Paulo. So that's cool. Good for them. Good for him, I should say.
I am a huge fan of Paolo. I think he's going to do amazing things. Spurs have gone number one. I'd want either Jabari or Paolo. I think he's going to do awesome things. My biggest worry about Chet for me is the fact that he's not as big. You know, he's got. I feel like he does have to put on size, especially if you're going to ask him to play as a center at times.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing. Art, what are your thoughts so far on the whole NBA, the draft? What are your thoughts?
Oh man, it's crazy, man. I'm trying to keep up with everything that's going on in my life and everything that's going on in the sports world. But
we are all dads, yeah. So yes, this is very true.
I think the Orlando Magic could have gone away with someone else, but Paolo Banchero from Duke, he's pretty good. We've seen him play during the Sweet 16 and the brackets and everything. So I think it was a good pick. They needed that depth on the power forward, so not a bad pick for them.
What does it entail, Trey, for the Magic? Because we know that unless it's the Dwight Howard era or it's the Shaquille Penny Hardaway era, they're not really known to be this spectacular team. What does this do for them? Do you think this actually elevates them closer? I mean, obviously not a playoff team, but closer maybe to a play-in team?
I mean, honestly, it could be a spark for him. You know what I mean? Young, hungry talent coming in. I mean, look at what the Spurs did this past year. Obviously, we made it into the playoffs, but barely. But in the sense of Primo, we started utilizing him a lot more, and it was that young, hungry spark, and he started to get the crowd involved, and so on and so forth. So maybe this could be that for them. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. I mean, we'll see how it goes. He's obviously going to be the star now. Mo Bamba hasn't worked out well.
No.
Markel Fultz had, a lot of things happened to Markel Fultz. All right, guys, it looks like the pick is in for the OKC. They have gone with Mr. Chet Holmgren himself.
there he is.
Trey, why are you so big on him? What is sending him out over a lot of other guys for you?
Honestly, man, I haven't watched too much of his game. I've kind of just watched some highlights. I like his confidence. I think he is overconfident sometimes, so I hope that doesn't bite him. I'm sure y'all seen his interviews where they say who's the best player in the game, and he says himself, and that's cool to have that confidence. But again, you also were playing in multiple colleges around you. Now you're in a small bucket.
Right.
There's a lot of people that want to make it to the NBA, and it's kind of crazy. So I really like him because yes, he is small, but he kind of makes me think of somewhat of a Kevin Durant, not as athletic, I guess, but in the sense of his length and his skinniness, where he can actually build a little bit, maybe like Giannis did. Giannis put a lot of muscle on,
That's right.
when he got into the league. So maybe he could be that guy. You know what I mean? Who knows?
All right, what about your thoughts on that?
I like the pick actually. It's just like Trey did right now, and he said, it's the highlights and everything that's pretty much what a lot of people see. But overall, man, I think he can do great in Oklahoma. I mean, for sure they need it. So this is only going to help them.
Yeah. I mean, they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the leader for OKC right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Trey, you're absolutely right. What you're saying, the KD one's perfect because it wasn't that long ago I saw on Twitter they were talking about how Colin Coward was talking mess about KD's size, that he couldn't bench over 185, stuff like that. And look where he is now, one of the top 5 players in the league currently today.
Easy.
So anything could happen, and of course, it's not like OKC's a bad organization. Despite the fact that they're not a great team right now, they've always built the team very well from management standpoints and stuff like that. So if you got young leaders like a Shea, like a Chet now, you can do a lot more things for this team, especially in a tough West. We'll see how it goes, but I mean, overall, this might be enticing for maybe some free agents to want to join them later on. So while we wait for the next pick, since I know it hasn't been broadcasted on my part on ESPN, but I'm getting all notifications on here. Let's talk about the new champions, Trey. We haven't had much to discuss since you last were on. Your pick was the was the Warriors and 6 as well, but your heart wanted the Boston Celtics. And after Game 3, it was looking really good,
dude. And oh my gosh, man!
Go ahead.
I called it. I said Warriors in 6, but yeah, my heart was set, and Boston had it, dude. They had it. They should have won.
4. They go to Game 4.
Yes,
the one
dude,
they let away,
and then because of Game 4, they let Game 5 slip. You know what I'm saying? Like they could have easily done Game 5. It came to the end. I was super sad.
So before we go on and just like praise, the Warriors and for their accomplishments and all that, what was the main keys that led to Boston's defeat to lose 3 straight games? Art, I'll start with you.
Man, I was with you, Trey. Man, I wanted the Celtics to win in my heart. And to be completely honest, man, I just went Celtics, and every episode that we did, I just went with the Celtics just to keep it interesting. But as it got to Game 3 and Game 4, I told Jose the only reason why they lost it was the turnovers. They did not have completion. They were trying to make those 3-pointers. They were trying to make all those fancy plays. And even on Game 3, they're passing. It was like lazy passing. They were just, instead of like passing the ball chest to chest, it was like looping it. So it was easy for people to pick it. Overall, I think it was the turnovers on that. Smart and Tatum, they were great. Brown was great. He was putting great numbers on it, but it was the turnovers. And the Warriors had a bunch of those too. But I think it was Game 5 when they were 18 points down. They literally had about 18 turnovers. So that was literally about their points right there. So that's where they lost it. I didn't watch the last game just because I was about to watch it in the first quarter, and then I saw that dip, and I was like, all right, this is over. This is done. There's no point in me watching the finals on it.
And I thought that was the most insane part, is that you started out really hot for Boston, 14-2 lead. Started great. The momentum was going, and it just swung. I like literally once it was 14-2, I went to go give my kid a bath. I come back out, it's like 25-point lead for the damn Warriors. It was insane. I mean, that's probably not true, but it was like a 52-37 swing points. So I was like, I don't understand, but I think a lot of it too is that they did do well with the pick and roll, but the fact that Marcus Smart wasn't even fighting to keep on defending Steph a lot hurt me to watch, because you're also defender of the year and you're moving away from the best player, and they're not even putting up a screen on you. You're just switching already without wanting to get physical and try to stop it. So, I mean, the Celtics are young. They have a, bright future still. They could always make it back potentially. You have a tough team with the Bucks, still right there in front of you. So we'll see how it goes for them. Trey, give me your thoughts on the Warriors, man. They came back. They won it all again. Their dynasty does not die. It's still alive. What are your thoughts on them?
Honestly, man, I'm happy for him. Like it's kind of like the whole Kobe thing, right? Like you love him, but you hate him deal. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the Warriors. I love him and I hate him. So I'm super happy for him. The biggest thing I'm happy for is their journey. Man, Clay getting injured in 2019, 2020, something like that.
2019
out
finals.
For how many days? Like 2 years. That was a cool comeback to see. Once Clay hit it, they hit the ground running and they got back on pace. And then obviously to see Steph overcome that and kind of show him that he could do it without Durant, and get that MVP as well, which is another big stat to add to him. It was cool to see, man. But yeah, I'm happy for him.
What are your thoughts, Art? I know you, like you said, you wanted to go for the other side, so you went for it. What impressed you about the Warriors to come out on top?
The thing that impressed me the most about the Warriors is just, I mean, Clay after the injury, we had been talking about him, for him to come back after that tear and then do and put up the numbers that he did, like that was crazy just to see him dialed in on it. I was super, super impressed with the defense from Steph Curry. Like he had it down. So I don't believe we had seen a lot of that from him before, running up and down the court. So he wanted it. He wanted to prove the point. He wanted to show that he wasn't just a one-person skill player, just 3-pointers from away the 3-point line. So I like that he showed that. Apart from that, I know Wiggins showed up, Porter showed up. Like there were some other ones. I'm not a big fan of Draymond Green, and Jose knows it. It's just, to me, it's like, all right, you call yourself a defensive player, you call yourself part of those big three, and I'm like,
he did his part. He did his part, especially in the last 2 games.
He does his part. Like he and we talked about it. He's the player to kind of pick at other players, get them pissed off. But to me, it's like, you get thrown off 3 games, and it's like, well, what are your numbers? What kind of numbers are you putting? So to me, it's like, if you're gonna be called big three, at least you put up some points. Like don't just.
Like I've been telling you, and Trey, I don't know if you watched those episodes with me and are debating this, because he's really, like he said, he's against Draymond. I'm kind of like pro it. Like his demeanor is more about what he does in the stats that don't show up. The things he does.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. He's the bully. Like he's not supposed to be like the guy that puts up all the numbers. He doesn't care about that. He wants the results. And at the end of the day, that's what he's getting. He's not a 4-time champion because he put up 20, 10, and 5. He's a 4-time champion because he bullied, he motivates the team. And they go forward. I'm going to interrupt real quick because right now Jabari Smith II has been selected by the Houston Rockets. That's an obvious pick. I think we all saw, especially since with the other 2 game picks where they went.
I think it's a good pick too.
He's coming off from Auburn. So what we saw them trade away Christian Wood. And so, you kind of knew right there that's where they're obviously going to select. They're going to move away from him, so that way whoever they draft is going to be the big guy. But Trey, where does this do for Houston? Because we know Jabari Smith Jr. is the son of Jabari Smith, former NBA player.
Yeah.
He's All-American. But does this really elevate right now the Houston Rockets, or it's just another chess piece for down the line?
I think it can elevate them right away. I mean, look at their starting 5. They have a lot of talent around them. Some of it is old talent or whatever you want to call it, but it's still talent nonetheless. And I think they can, especially same concept. You get these young guys in here, man, that are excited to learn, excited and hungry, and you just kind of have fun. It brings the people that are the veterans, quote unquote, back down and say, okay, look, we still got some youth in us. Let's roll. So yeah, definitely could see it with their lineup being. I'm not saying they might go all the way, but they could definitely have a spark for sure.
Okay, Art, I'll make the announcement of the next pick in just a bit. Art, what are your thoughts on the Houston Rockets and Jabari Smith Jr.?
I think it's gonna be great. The thing about the way that I feel is, and I guess this is one of the reasons why I kind of pick at Draymond Green. Apart from everything, he's a great defensive player. We have good defensive players in the NBA right now, but one thing that I haven't seen from the Houston Rockets in a while is just play defense. So just looking at some of the highlights right now from Smith, he has that lockdown mechanism that a lot of players don't have. So he just follows. He doesn't get taken off. He doesn't approach the player too much. He just leaves them space, lets them do their thing, and then he attacks. Yeah. So I think that's gonna, like Trey said, it's gonna help him elevate both offensively and defensively, though. So he's a good big size guy. He has the height and everything. So it's gonna be good to see the Rockets actually do something now.
Right. All right. So guys, at number 4, the Sacramento Kings select Iowa's Keegan Murray. So they avoid Ivy. They avoid Sharp. They will go with the guy who is potentially one of the top two, if not the best, guards on there. So, I mean, Trey, I know you're high on him. What are your thoughts on the Kings? What does this do for them now that he is a Sacramento King?
I really like Keegan a lot, man. I think he's the type of guy that actually can you can get behind and start an organization around. And it may not happen right away, but the Kings can definitely build it, especially with the new head coach. Man, I like the new head coach, and it could be huge now, man. Again, maybe not this year, but maybe in a year or two, because that's awesome.
It's Sacramento Kings, so I'm not really sure what they
do
regardless. They've always had a lot of talent with it, but because Aaron Fox and then
you got
Chris Webber,
chocolate.
You just can't go anywhere with the Kings. It's just more an organization issue than it is a player issue. I mean, good luck to Keegan Murray. So the other reports were because we had teams reportedly wanting to trade up to number 4. The Kings have no plans to trade that pick, or in this case, Keegan Murray. They're going to stick with him. Obviously, we've seen trades done before after the picks were made. Like not that long ago, we saw Luka, who was picked by the Hawks, get traded to the Mavericks for Trae Young. That changed the franchise, both franchises, but obviously it helped more the Mavericks in the end. Are your thoughts on the Kings selecting Keegan Murray?
No, I mean, just like you said, they're gonna stick with that pick. They're not gonna trade him. He's a great body guy too, and the Kings need it. I mean, yes, they have good players in there. They have the talent, but just like you said, it's seeing them make it past it. I feel like they're missing that key player in there. So maybe this guy is the one for him. Maybe that, like you said, they build it around him. So we'll see where this pick takes him, though. So
for sure. And while we have this break until the next pick goes up, guys, I just want to let y'all know this episode is sponsored by Frankie's Barbershop. Frankie's Barbershop, they will cut your hair however you like it. You will look good. You'll look as good, fresh as Art did when he got his cut, when I got my cut, when Trey gets his cuts, even though he doesn't go there because it's across town for him, he will make you look fantastic. Frankie got you. Mo got you. They'll take care of you guys. They're over at 3203 Nacogdoches Road, Suite 100, 78217 here in San Antonio, Texas. So, hey, guys, if you're from San Marcos, Austin, drive down, go to Frankie's Barbershop. They got you. All right, guys. Well, the number 5 pick is in. I have not updated the board yet, but it is. The Detroit Pistons have selected Purdue's Jaden Ivey. He is now a Detroit Piston. So, we've seen the Pistons have a lot of top 3 picks in the most recent years, but Trey, we got a guard, again, arguably the best one on there. And then the potential rumors of DeAndre Aiden getting traded to Detroit as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Dude, I've seen the rumors. That would be nasty. Man, yeah, I'm pretty, from what I've seen, the guard, that kid can play, man. He can. Maybe it'll take them back to their heydays of the Pistons, the old school Pistons, big bodied Aiden, and you got some shooter, and man, I think that's a good pick and a good setup, especially if they do get that Aiden pickup for sure.
I mean, what would Detroit have to trade to be able to get someone like Aiden? Because it looks like even though he's there, he's going to be moved. That's not a question at this point. Yeah. He's going to be moved. But he's a restricted free agent, so you can still do a lot of things. You can ask for a lot, even though So what do you think Detroit will have to give up?
I think because of the scenario that's going on right now, it might not be as bad as it could have if the whole scenario didn't go down the way it did. They are still going to have to give up some big stuff, I'm sure. But again, he is a restricted free agent, like you said. So I don't think they'll have to give the whole store away for sure.
Obviously not, and easily because of who they are, a first round pick next year might just be enough. So Art, what are your thoughts on Jaden Ivey? I'm gonna tell y'all right now, Art. Mike said that's his favorite player going out after the first 3. That was his guy that he thought he wants these first teams out. Sacramento and Detroit not to pick up. Obviously, it wasn't going to happen, and it's happened. So, what are your thoughts on this?
No, just like Tracy and Mike has his point of view, like he is a great guard on it. So hopefully this elevates the Pistons, and hopefully that rumor comes true and they just go back to their powerhouse, But it's one of those things like, okay, what if they do trade for the rumor? Like, do they have to give up their 5th pick? Then it kind of like takes everything away. So I don't know what they're going to be giving up to acquire other players right now, but if they're able to make that trade, I think this provides a safe ground for them to build around them.
And another thing, since it was a topic that I brought up, and we can move aside from the champions because we talked a lot about them. We know how great the dynasty of the Warriors is. Whether that will continue on, we shall see. Obviously, a healthy Chris Middleton could have made a difference if the Bucks had made the finals. We don't know what's going to happen with the Lakers. We'll talk about it right now. Brooklyn Nets. Drama as always. That does not change, whether it's the current team or past team, whatever. Now we have Kyrie most likely will not be returning to Brooklyn now that he has a player option, so he can choose to return there for $36 million. But Brooklyn does not want to give him a full-time extension, not a 4 years, $200 million and stuff like that. And it also involves possibly KD going to weigh his options depending on what they do with that transaction. So, Art, I'm going to go to you first. What are your thoughts on the Brooklyn, Kyrie, and KD drama right now?
KD's a great player, man, but I just feels like whenever it's not him, the player, I feel it's just the drama that surrounds him. And I feel like whenever there's drama around him, he doesn't perform the way he performs. So I think he just doesn't like being in a team that is surrounded by drama, surrounded by media, and that has his name called out.
He went to New York, and that was a terrible decision if he didn't want media around.
Well, exactly. But
should have gone to San Antonio. Just saying.
And but in the Kyrie thing, man, I heard it the other day. He does remind me, now that I've heard it, like it does remind me that he's kind of like the cryptocurrency guy. Like you don't know what you're gonna expect. Like it could be volatile, it could raise, it could give you value, but overall, man, I think he's overrated in the sense of like what he does and his points of views on how he wants to play. Like he's not a team player.
On the court, I was like, whoa.
No, on the court,
okay.
Like not
on the court, like his view of life and everything.
His view, correct. Okay. Like, yeah, he's overrated in that sense of like he lets all of that get between him and his physical playing time. So we've seen him whenever he goes out there and plays, he puts up 40 plus points, and he's great. He has great handles. I believe he has one of the best handles in the NBA.
The best, in my opinion.
But it's just whenever he gets in his head and he's like, I don't feel like playing, or I don't want to be a team guy, then he kind of gets in his head. Now, I don't know, those trade rumors saying that he may end up with the Lakers. I'm just like, all right, another Cleveland or what?
Hey, well, we shall see. That's the only time he's found success is when he was a LeBron anyway. So, Trey, in his 3 years with Brooklyn, and mind you, 2 of them have not been full seasons because one, the pandemic started, then next year was shortened. Kyrie has missed 123 games in that time frame. It's not even like it's not a lot, as far as like how many games between those 3 years because of what's happened. Obviously, he's missed 123 games. That obviously scared the Nets. But what do you think is really affecting him more? Is it the fact that everything that happened, whether it was the George Floyd thing, the Black Lives Matter, the vaccination, the vaccine? What is the major key, in your opinion, that you're seeing that is holding Kyrie back to just being the baller that we knew he was?
I mean, I get it, right? Like that's his choice. The things he chooses to do, that's on him. And maybe he's happy with those choices. It seems to be happy because, like you said, whenever he gets on the court, he does have a good time and he does put up numbers. But I think beside like the outside stuff, I do still think he's pretty decent amount of drama in general. Look at all the other stuff that's happened in his past. Like when he first came in the league, everybody praised him. He was big time, so on and so forth. And then as the years progress, it just seems to get more and more negativity around his area. And think about it with him in Cleveland and LeBron, everything seemed so perfect. and all of a sudden it just blew away.
He just wrote it out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. So he's the type of guy, like, obviously I would love to be like, oh, go get Kyrie. He's a baller. But then it's like, is he even going to stick around? Is he going to be happy? Is he, it's just that type of mentality.
Now he's asked the Brooklyn Nets trade that, if the Nets aren't willing to sign him, if they can, potentially trade him to one of 6 teams in a sign and trade so that way he can get his maximum value. The teams that I can recall in my head and, fill them in if I forget them. Lakers, Clippers, the Heat, the Mavericks.
I don't remember the other ones either.
Mavericks. Who else? Philly. So that'd be a reunion with James Harden, which almost makes no sense, especially since we just saw them,
Yep.
break up essentially. And the other team was the Knicks, which is right up the street for them. So, one, do you see any of those teams willing to do that? And who are they willing to give up to be able to get a Kyrie? Because they're going to have to give up somebody. None of them had the cap space to just sign him. So, which of these teams, or if any, do you think is even going to really attempt it? Obviously, the Lakers seem to be the favorite, but what are your thoughts, Trey?
Yeah, I know the rumor is the Lakers are the favorite. If you notice, all those teams are big cities, in the sense of their franchise. And that, man, that always bugged me when somebody's like, oh, I want to go to A, B, or C. Like, don't put me anywhere else. It's like, okay, one, the team's job is to find the best value for you. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I get it's all business, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you kind of don't get that option to an extent. Like look at Kawhi, and mind you, Kawhi won a championship, so that's awesome. But Kawhi was like, I want to go to LA. And Pop was like, nah, you're going somewhere else. Like, sent him up north, you know what I mean? Like, so it's, I never liked that mentality of, oh, I want to go here. Like, no, dude, like, that's not how it works. Like, obviously, yeah, they're going to try and get the best value out of you anyways. And maybe it's one of those teams, but I just always hated that. But I could see LA being a big option. I don't see Miami pulling the trigger personally, just because of who they have already there.
I mean, you could potentially, if you're Miami, you could potentially give up Duncan Robinson, who you've taken out of your rotation. You can trade in Tyler Hero, just possibly.
I mean, I guess, and then maybe that's my mindset is I didn't think they would give up Jimmy or Tyler or anybody like that. Yeah. But hey, maybe they throw in Tyler just because of who they're getting. And that could be a potential for sure. But I'd say one of the LAs for sure.
Art, before we move on to the next draft pick that got selected, I wanted to ask you, to keep KD around, right? Who do you have to trade with and bring in to keep them? Because otherwise, hold on, let me real quick. Number 6 pick, Indiana selects Benedict Mathurin, center, big guy. Obviously, they're trading a lot of their key pieces, but we'll talk about that in just a bit. So, Art, who do you believe Brooklyn needs to trade with to keep KD happy? Obviously, he still has 4 years left on his contract, but obviously he's also going to be weighing his options as well, depending on what kind of move they make with Kyrie. So, what do you see them needing to do to keep KD happy?
I mean, for them to keep KD, man. So, I mean,
happy because contractually he's stuck regardless. He's 4 years left.
Yeah. So Kyrie's out. I mean, they're gonna trade him out, right? So,
they could trade him out, or it's player option. So he has like about a week to invoke his player option, get $36 million, or he can decline it and he's a free agent.
Man, you can trade away Patty Mills.
Trade two, not trade away. Trade two.
Yeah, you could probably trade. You could probably, like I said, I know they just got Ben Simmons, but yet again, Ben Simmons hasn't done shit. So
they're not going to trade him away. That's for sure. Not if you're losing Kyrie, you're not going to give up.
You could probably trade Drummond and Mills and get a package for someone else.
Do you see any teams that are willing to give up maybe a star athlete to do so? Because I would assume Trey, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe an A-, B+ player.
See, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, like my thought process was in my mind, KD is thinking to himself, he needs to kind of prove himself to an extent. So I would say probably like a B+, maybe B- at the lowest.
But
person around him. That I probably couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I would think personally,
if
off
you're
the top of
losing
my head,
Kyrie, right? So you need someone that's gonna move the ball around like that.
Yeah, but see, KD doesn't want a Kyrie. He wants to be the number one. He wants to be the go-to guy. Look at what he did at Golden State. He took over that organization that 1 year.
That's Steph Curry's team.
What year was it? Whenever he won MVP, I can't even remember now.
So he won both years that he won.
Well, yeah, both. But there was a big year where he had a big deal.
First year, that's the first. The second year wasn't it when Curry got hurt?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And he took over the team. That's what he wants. He wants to go into an organization and take over the team. So put somebody who's smaller name-wise in there that'll facilitate and be kind of a background player to an extent for him, but that's decent enough to facilitate.
Trey, if you're a coach, if you're Steve Nash, right? Are you putting Ben Simmons at the forward, or are you gonna move him down to point guard?
I'll put him at the left out.
Okay.
So Kemba right now is what with the Knicks?
Kemba, well, is he still with the Knicks? I thought he got traded away. No, yeah, he wanted out. They still have him, I think so.
So that would be a good one. Trade away Kyrie and another piss, and then Kemba. Get Kemba.
See, and then
I like Kemba's kind of play. I don't think he is.
He's a little bit of selfish ball though, because he's had all those years where he was a Charlotte Hornet, where he was the guy, and it's why it failed in Boston, because he thought that maybe they'd do more with him there, but he wasn't their number one guy. He was arguably 3, 4. It just never worked out for him, and now he and the Knicks, dysfunctional relationship right away, almost like a few weeks after the season started. So Kemba's not the guy I'm looking at right now. Just because of it looks like his own attitude issues. And if you're trying to move away from Kyrie and his drama, why are you going to add on that?
Bring more drama. Yep.
We were talking about the Kings a while ago, so I'm actually wondering this. What if you free up De'Aaron Fox and get him paired up with, Kevin Durant? Or is that too familiar as a Russell Westbrook, KD combo? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, guys? But Russ and KD should have gone further. Like, they should have won a shit, bro.
2016 was their year, and they messed it up.
So if you bring on a younger guy who is somewhat similar to Russ, that could be nasty, dude. That could be younger. Nasty. You still facilitate KD, get him his stuff, but then you also keep his. Oh man, that could be gross. That would be sick, actually, to see.
I like that trade, actually.
All right. So that's a potential one for there. So the number 7 pick is in, guys. Portland Trailblazers select Shaden Sharp. Now, a lot of things have been coming controversial with Shaden Sharp. The main issue is that, one, he didn't play last year at all for Kentucky.
At all.
A lot of it was, or mainly he chose not to.
Yeah.
There's just still a lot of speculation there, like what the hell happened.
Yeah.
So nobody has any real footage of him unless you recorded him in high school. Yeah. So there's a lot of character, not assassinations, but a lot of characterable, questions about him. So Trey, what are your thoughts on this young man? We've seen that Portland just traded for Jeremy Grant to add with Dame, to add with Josh Hart. So what are your thoughts on this pick right here?
It's an interesting one for sure. Like I saw a lot of reports saying, how is he in the top 10 if we haven't seen him play over, in a year?
Right.
Like you said, there's no real footage of him playing. So I'm kind of intrigued to see why they would do that. He does have, a little bit of length to him. So that's, I guess, decent, but I don't know. I agree. I'm curious as to see where his mindset was and why he sat out. Is it a mutual decision? Was it just him saying, okay, look, I'm not playing? Or if it was something else hidden, you know what I mean?
A lot of a lot of the questionable things too with it. Art, I'll go to you now. We have to remove him there real quick. We don't know what happened, so I'll move on with there. What was I gonna say? we know because we're Spurs fans. There was questionable marks, going on like, hey, he didn't know how to answer it. Now, a lot of the other things too is that he doesn't have an agent. I don't know, maybe since that interview and stuff, maybe he did get one now, but he didn't have an agent. He didn't really prep well with the media and stuff like that. So he answered things that just didn't come off right.
Yeah.
I don't know. This young man is going to have to, he's going to have to sit behind players because obviously he's not the guy right now. He is a shooting guard. And so do you think he's going to be able to really fill in that role that CJ left? Or what do you think of the future for Dame also while we're talking about it?
To answer the first question, I do see him being kind of a lengthier CJ. I don't know if he'll be as good of a shooter, but I could see it being around there. For Dame, man, I don't know. I think part of me thinks he likes it still, and part of me thinks he's kind of over everything, involved. He's just kind of out there playing, having fun, but kind of not the same mentality that he used to have. It was Dame time, and he was aggressive. And don't get me wrong, he still is to an extent, but I think he's kind of they traded his biggest player away. They kind of screwed him in the end, and it's kind of like a shot in the foot. Like, we tried, and all of a sudden you're like, no, you're gone. Bye. It's like, what are you doing now? You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see with this pick if it kind of rejuvenates his mentality and pushes him along to play more aggressive, or if he kind of just is over everything. So I'm really intrigued to see this.
It is crazy because we also have like reports of Bradley Beal, supposedly going to opt out from Washington, and we know he's also been just like Dame, a guy that wants to stick around for his team and do something for that franchise. They're trying to live up to that, Kobe standards, Tim Duncan standards, Magic, stuff like that. They want to like elevate the teams that weren't good once before, stuff like that. It's tough, especially with those. It's not that they're just small market teams; they're just not trying as hard per se, or like they're not. The management, the front offices. So we'll see. Chauncey Billups is still the head coach there at Portland. We'll see how that goes for him. The New Orleans Pelicans have also now made their pick. They've selected Dyson Daniels. Very interesting choice. You have a lot of guys that were still left on the board that you maybe feel like were a little better. Jalen Duran is still there and other stuff like that. So what do you think the Pelicans, who've had Zion, who we don't know really his future, what his weight is, even at that, his health and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on the Pelicans right now?
We'll see. And I think what they're thinking is, if they can get a healthy Zion and get somebody around to facilitate with him and, all the pieces that they have, maybe it'll help boost what they already have. He is, a decent size for a guard. So maybe it adds that link to the defensive end too. You know what I mean? I don't remember him being a great defensive player, but again, it could be a big piece that they need to boost Zion coming back. Zion was a stud when he first came in, and then just kind of injury prone. And then I think there were some points where he just didn't want to play. I don't really know what he was going through exactly.
So a lot of the things that are going on with him, and let me real quick welcome Art back. Are you good? Hey, he's good. All right. So a lot of the things that was really an issue for Zion is that, he and the medical staff, the New Orleans Pelicans staff, is that they're butting heads a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Zion's team says he's ready, but the medical staff said no. Opposite of Kawhi, where the medical staff said he's good, but Kawhi's team said he's not good. So it's a lot of questionability, especially since it was only his second year. Right? This is Zion's second year. And we'll see what it entails. Let's real quick rewind back onto this because obviously Dyson Daniels is now a Pelican, but as a 2 or 3, he's not going to be starting right away. They obviously have CJ. at the 2. They have Brandon Ingram at the 3. So this is probably a really good piece for them as a backup role in case one of those two ever decide to leave. Because obviously maybe New Orleans is nowhere near to a title shot as they would want. So going back to the Nets, before family emergency came up, I was gonna ask you, Jesus, what was I gonna ask you? Well, anyways, on these last 2 picks, since you weren't here for Shaden Sharp for Portland, Dyson Daniels from the Pelicans, what are your thoughts on them? Art.
What was it again? Sorry.
Shaden Sharp for Portland, Dyson Daniels. What are your thoughts on them being drafted by those 2 teams?
I believe I gave you my input on the Portland one. The Dyson Daniels ones, I mean, I know he's going to be paired up with Zion. Zion's coming off that injury. He's a good guard on it. Honestly, it's going to be which one was the player that didn't play the whole
Shaden Sharp? That was the one for Portland.
Sharp, right? Yeah. But no, I think it's going to be a good addition to the Pelicans. I believe they need it. Especially they need someone explosive. Not saying that Zion is not explosive, but after the foot injury, he's been kind of down. So I know when they had LaMelo on it, that was the guy that kind of gave those passes to Zion. So this guy that the Pelicans picked up, he has a good eye for the court. He knows how to control the ball. He knows how to attack it. So that's going to be a good pass.
So you're thinking Dyson's going to be moved to the 1 outside of his 2 and 3 role, and then that will make him more better to fill in the Lonzo missing spot. Okay. Yep. I like that. I like that. I mean, obviously you have a lot of guard play. We saw God, I already forgot. He's the guy from the first Mexican board. Remember the thief from the Pelicans.
The guy that's yeah, I know.
Jose Alvarado. Yes. Freaking dude was a stud. Obviously, he was, playing backup, but I mean, what a stud!
That could be the burst that they need off the bench. They're 6-man, so there could be different ways that they play it. I agree. I think I'd put him at the 1 or 2, and then kind of stretch your other sizes out a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would personally do. So.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot of things going on. I mean, even that you can also move CJ to the 1 as he was primarily this last year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he's got the more experience out of everybody on that team. Him and Ingram are the 2 all-stars. So Pelicans probably still have a long way to go. Spurs pick is about to go on right now in just a bit. Trey, we've had conversations about it. What are your thoughts on who is, should the Spurs target with what's remaining left on the board at 9?
Oh man, honestly, I'm cool with either of the first 2 that are still left on the board. Because we need more bigs, huh?
You're just like AJ Griffin and there's a lot. So Brian Wright, Duran, yeah. So Brian Wright, the GM, said he's gonna go for best available. So that could be a guard.
It could easily. I just think we're really guard heavy right now, personally.
Mm-hmm.
But it also depends on what we do. There's rumors that Josh Richardson might not stick around. A couple other people might, go other places. It just depends on really what we're shooting for this year. So if we're shooting to make a couple trades, then cool, go guard. But right now I feel like we're kind of big, little right now.
So a lot of the rumors this for summer for Spurs fans was that we were targeting Zach LaVine. We were targeting DeAndre. Aiden. Obviously, LaVine looks like he's going to be re-signing with Chicago. Aiden looks like he's potentially going to be traded to Detroit. We don't know. That's just a rumor. Art, as a Bulls fan, what are your thoughts on keeping LaVine? Obviously, there's the rumors that he wasn't happy not being the number 1 role no more since DeRozan arrived. But he's deciding to stick around. Now, one, is he really going to stick around? And is Chicago willing to pay him all that money? Just what are your thoughts on the Bulls?
No, I do think he stays. And I do believe they're going to pay him. Like I said, I don't believe DeRozan is a 1. Right now, they're treating him as a 1. And the reason why he was treated as a 1 is because of the injury that LaVine had. And one of them had to show up. I do believe that him staying as the 2, as LaVine staying as a 2, potential to 1, it doesn't get a lot of a lot of people don't really guard him anymore as much because they're more worried about DeRozan's mid shot and the clutch shot that we saw a lot at the beginning, right before the finals. So to me, that's like, it's a good stick for him to stay. It helps DeRozan as not being the one. DeRozan doesn't like being the one. And it helps Levine relieve some of that pressure away. I do believe they need to keep some of those other key players. I know LaRusso and Ball, like they kind of help that gameplay happen. And that's when we saw that run from the Bulls. Yes, injuries happen and everything. So one of them had to step up. And that's when I believe Levine kind of like took the long road and just kind of started decreasing on his average. But overall, I think it's a great pick for them to keep him.
I think
I wouldn't trade him out right now.
Right. I mean, he's a free agent, so he can choose to leave if he wants to, or restricted free agents to say. So obviously the injuries that caused them to go down. The Bulls were on a hot streak. You saw them making game winners. They were number one, and then injuries played them. The Caruso injury by what's his name, the little trippy jerk face in the books right now. Yeah. And so we'll see how it goes. The Bulls have a lot of potential still. They just don't have that number one guy. DeRozan's always going to be a top talent, a B-plus player. Not to sound like a dick to him, but like he's just not the number one guy. And if he's still going to be your number one guy, you can only go so far. The Spurs have selected their guy right now at number 9. They selected Baylor's Jeremy Sokan. So they've gone center, Trey. They've gone big.
That's what I was saying, man. We need to go big.
So we've gone big. We've done what we as Spurs fans have been asking for. Like no more guards. Primo was nice, but it wasn't what we wanted last year. Obviously, at the end it was a good pick, but now we're going big. One, what does this mean for Jakob Poeltl's future with the Spurs, Trey? Do you keep him and you move him down to 4, or maybe Sokan to 4, or do you move on from Poeltl and you probably get another first-round pick out of him because there's a lot of interest in him as well?
See, that's the biggest thing, right? So that was whenever the whole Aiden rumors happened. Don't get me wrong, I love Blockham. I love him. But it's like, okay, he's going to get paid next year, regardless. He's getting paid. So can you get something better for this guy that you're about to get paid? You know what I mean? So I kind of wanted the Aiden trade to happen, which I thought would be sick. But now that we've got the center, I'm curious to see if they're going to kind of keep him as a backup role in the sense of training him, getting him developed like the Spurs like to develop people.
Right.
Against, and again, don't get me wrong, Jakob is awesome. He's really, really good. He's definitely come into his own. I didn't care for him at first because he did seem a little timid, kind of like a Thiago Splitter.
And he was.
Definitely advanced. And I don't think he's scared of anything right now, which is awesome.
Right. So
I'm curious to see if they are going to treat him as like a backup and then eventually weed out, our centers and let him step up.
Are we adding sides on our side? You were there with me and Jesse when we went to go see Bulls versus Spurs. One, what impressed you about Jakob Poeltl? And 2, do you think this actually, as a lottery pick, which is very rare for Spurs to have, is this going to elevate our team? You, a fan from the Bulls, looking in to the Spurs team.
No, so I mean, I like the Spurs, and I'm from San Antonio, so I go for the Spurs. I like the Bulls. I'm from Chicago, but one thing that I did tell like whenever the Spurs got attacked, it was down the lane. Like they were just getting beat by that center. Like they didn't have someone that was just there to protect the rim, to protect that drive-in. So I think this is going to elevate the game, especially against those teams that have a 3 or a 2-person team that they just like to drive the ball past that passing game. So I like this. I mean, his hairdo is pretty cool. Maybe he'll get the.
I didn't know he played for the Polish national team though.
Yeah, I mean, he played for Baylor. He played for the Polish national team.
That's kind of cool.
I mean, he's. You know what? They're listing him as a forward. We don't even have to get rid of him.
And that's what I was just about to say. Yeah, so I'm curious if they're going to go 4 with him.
Because I would like that. I don't like Keldon at the 4 because he's 6'6". Like damn it,
that would be nasty. Actually,
I actually yes, I agree. I think I don't know why. I think it was Twitter. Someone put center. But anyway, it's like dude, he's impressive himself.
This could be a good pickup. Yeah,
and he's already been in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. And he can shoot. So It could be nice. It could be quote unquote like a Durant as well, you know.
So before we move on, Trey, to the Washington's pick at 10, give me your dream lineup right now for the team. Who's your starters for this squad right now?
Man, to be honest with you, I've got so many different ones rolling in my head. Because I'm curious if they're going to pull Primo off bench or if they're going to go.
Do you want me to tell you mine? And
let's go with yours because I'm going to see if mine's similar. Because, like I said, I've actually thought about this and do a different trades.
DeJounte will obviously number one. Yeah, DeJounte will be number one. Devin will be the number 2. Mm-hmm. Keldon would be 3. Jeremy will start at 4 immediately. I'm not starting with the G League shit. I mean, you can if you want, but I wouldn't. And then Jakob at 5.
Okay, so then who would you have coming off the bench?
You got Primo. Primo would be my first guard. So he could be the well, I mean, you got Trey Jones there, so he could be the 2. So Trey Jones, Primo.
And Primo would be a great 2. So
yes, cool, and he was a starter too for the last 10 games of the season too. So that could be a huge pickup there. Obviously you still have some of the international young stars that are still playing for the team. Let me pull up the roster real quick because I'm Zach Collins. Zach Collins.
That's what I was going to go at because I don't know if we're going to keep. That's what I was saying. Josh Richardson. I don't know if we're going to keep Collins.
McDermott.
There's also been rumors of Lonnie maybe leaving. I don't know how true that is.
I don't think we're keeping Lonnie. I don't think we're keeping Lonnie.
So?
And I think it's more because he's
I think he
not
wants
developing. Well, he might wants more, but he's not developed to the point where Papa's going to give him more.
Yeah,
and I don't blame them because
I mean, I like Lonnie a lot, but I wouldn't blame him either.
Now, if you keep Lonnie, you're getting rid of Trey Jones.
Yeah,
as crazy it might sound, it's he's only 2 years, but if you keep Lonnie, you're gonna have to get rid of Trey Jones because then they'll be 2 backed up, and I don't think Trey Jones is gonna want to move back to the 3rd role again.
No,
since he's kind of earned the 2nd role, but Lonnie is a better athlete, I would say.
Lonnie's also a spark. That's the biggest thing for me.
Which is why I would love to keep him coming off the bench if we keep him, but I just personally I don't think so. He might ask for 4 years, $60 million, and I don't know if we're willing to do that, stuff like that. So Washington pick is in. They are going with Johnny Davis, Wisconsin's own point guard. You lost John Wall, you lost Russ. There's not really much going on in Washington. What is your future sightings? I'll start with Art. What is your thoughts on Washington's future with potentially losing Beal?
Honestly, man, I think they're just gonna stay dormant again. I don't think there's a lot of excitement there. The draft pick may help them out, but I think they're in a rebuilding stage right now again. So they're kind of playoff run that they had with those 3 guys, they don't have that right now, so I think they're going to stay pretty dormant.
Yeah, it's unfortunately Washington is it's like the Eastern Kings. They're the Eastern Sacramento Kings. They're just in purgatory. They're just never. You get some good pieces sometimes. You just can't go anywhere. Yeah. Trey, what other news have you been watching with the NBA that has been intriguing you that you've been keeping an eye on that maybe not the media hasn't portrayed so much on?
Honestly, I haven't been keeping up as much as I should have, but the biggest ones recently have been all the trade rumors, man. I thought actually today there would be a lot more happening, with the draft coming right there, today with the movement. So I was kind of surprised to see just a little bit of movement compared to what I was expecting. But that's my biggest things, man, is obviously everybody knows after the draft, you can easily have trades. So I'm curious where people are going to start to say, okay, look, we actually wanted this guy. Let's move it around. Because you still have a lot of big names on the board that are restricted free agents or free agents in general. So for me, I don't have anything that really pops out besides Aiden. But obviously everybody's talking about that one right now. So
yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right. Even last night where we talked about the big trade rumor about John Collins possibly to the Spurs for DeJounte Murray and a load of picks. That you're right. I was expecting a lot more done. Obviously teams are talking. Obviously teams are going to keep negotiating and stuff like that, but we just don't know what is going on. So obviously, guys, we're going to stick around until at least the end of the lottery. So 14 picks. We're already 10 in. Well, the broadcast is really going to announce number 10. Let's talk about some more basketball, guys. Let's talk about. I don't know how to say it. Let me ask you this because I've been intrigued. Me and Mike were talking about this on the box the other night. Who are your top 3, guards in their prime, Trey?
In their prime?
In their prime, top 3. So just talking about their prime moments. It's not talking about their all-time career, just their prime moment. Who are the top 3? Point guards. I'll say point guards.
Okay, I was gonna say because guards is kind of that's a range.
It's stretching out. Yeah.
Point guards, man. I'd have to say, Tony's definitely up there for me. I'm trying to think if he's my top 3 because he's definitely got a lot of like those highlight plays.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think if he's top. So that's what I'm curious. Where would you classify Steph as a point guard? Because technically he is to an extent, but I know they use him as shooting guard sometimes. So he's a point guard. I mean, obviously Steph is easily the greatest shooter of our generation.
Okay.
If not number 1, he's definitely number 2 in the sense of overall. I would personally, just because I'm a fan, put Tony up there at number 3. I'm trying to think of who my number 2 would be, though, man. I really don't know. You might have to come back to me on that one.
Art, your 3 favorite point guards in their prime, like who are your guys? I had mine, and then Mike fucked me over with the prime word, so that's why I'm asking y'all.
I'm honestly looking up who, because just like Trey said, it's kind of hard to put him in a role now, and especially with how all those roles have developed over the years. But like right now, I just looked up like best point guards of all time, but like Kobe Bryant's one of them. He's listed as a point guard.
But see, that's what I'm saying. He's
more of a shooting guard.
Exactly. Technically, a shooting guard, small forward. That's why that argument is always so confusing. I also thought of my second one personally.
Yeah, so like I looked at that one, and like I'm looking at different lists, but it's like, how do you classify them now? Like it's just you make it hard on that.
Well, I wouldn't say like don't worry about the stats now. It's like who they were then, because I'm talking about like players in the last 40 years, right? Like, so I'll give you my list. I said Magic first because he's always considered the best point guard ever. Yeah. Steph is in there, and then my next one was Tony Parker. For the on top of the contributions, stuff like that. This is where he twisted on me because I was thinking all time. He said prime. He said, okay, he's agreed with me with the first 2. Derrick Rose, 2011 prime.
Exactly. See,
that's where he got me, and he was like, dude, D Rose, if healthy,
he was nasty,
destructive, bro. Like at young age, just. So that's where I was like, oh, he got me with the prime word. He messed me up. All right. So it's obviously, that one's a tough one because like you said, Art and Trey, like where the positions are now and everything, they're just labeled as guards or forwards. I mean, center is almost non-existent at this point.
You know what's kind of crazy though? That a lot of people don't think of Rose as a great, like, not that they don't think of him as a great player, but they always, whenever people are making lists, they always forget him.
Oh yeah. I mean, he had the injuries and stuff like that, and you don't really think about him except for that, that time.
It's unfortunate because the injuries hindered his career.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if at the speed he was going at, if he could have stayed healthy like his entire career, oh my god, like he's arguably going to be top
10 in my book personally. If he'd have stayed healthy,
it just would have been
was nasty.
But unfortunately, the injuries you gotta factor the fact that he couldn't. You can't put him ahead of like KD guys. Like it's just as crazy as it sounds. So at number 11, the New York Knicks have selected Ousmane Dieng. So an international player, a lot of guys. Just in. He is being moved to OKC. He's being traded.
Oh, shoot.
OKC made a move. OKC has made a move.
See, that's what I was saying, man. I was expecting more of that. What are we doing?
They're trading the 11th pick to OKC, who select Ousmane Dieng. So
okay.
we know the Thunder have so many picks, and I'm looking at Knicks fans all happy that they haven't alert yet. So So obviously OKC is making a move. They have a lot of picks in like the next 20 years, first round picks. So obviously they must have given up something. Now we talked about OKC getting Chet. They get Ousmane Deng. That fills up both their like power forward and their center role. So Trey, your thoughts on this move by OKC?
I'm telling you, bro. I'm curious to see what they actually let go of, though. Does it say what they traded away?
They sent multiple first round picks to New York. So because they have like
a year and okay.
Not yet. They have like 8. So
So that's nasty now. So now you have someone that's like somewhat of a KD, in the long shooter, big man type role, and then you have this kid who is, he could easily be maybe not a KD role, but something similar to that. So man, they might have actually done some real homework. They're pushing for this year.
I said it earlier that front office, they've always been smart. They're the guys that got Ibaka, Harden, Russ, and KD. And so now they're moving forward. They made a lot of, trading pieces to now do something like this. So like I said, so Art, what are your thoughts on this move? This is big in our opinion. I mean, how do you feel about this? Art?
I'm honestly just looking at the reaction from the sorry, man. It just
the Knicks fans' reactions are kind of funny.
They just announced it was a trade. Oh shit!
I'm curious to see what the reactions are now.
No, that's good. I like that trade. And talking about trades, like we were just talking about those trades not happening or anything. So, are we seeing another run, kind of like what they had with KD and Russell?
Well, see, and that's what I was gonna say just now. Is to me, them doing this move is like we're gonna do this now, not in the future.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I'm willing to give up some first rounders to get started now. So that's what I'm saying, man. Him and Chet together, plus what they already have, that could be huge, man. That could be huge.
And it helps this guy. Like you're not in the Knicks anymore, so you're good. You can breathe a little bit. I just feel like that's just like in football. Whenever they get drafted by the Jets right now, so this guy's probably breathing now.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the New York Live to Oklahoma. It's not exactly, it's not an upgrade, but it just depends like how this.
It's a better team, though, if you think about it.
Personally, besides their past, the New York Knicks recently have not been the team that I want to go to.
Well, here's my issue with the OKC is it's just that one, it's one of the worst teams in the West, and second, it's the West. The West is like nasty no matter what. Like your top 12 teams are like always in like rotation.
Well, and see that's another point to prove that the West. The worst team in the West could be a decent team in the East. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, that's crazy.
So if the NBA ever expanded, right? Because there's always going to be a talk about expansion. Obviously, they have 30 teams now. Some people say 32 teams. Art, I'll start with you. What 2 cities do you think deserve a basketball team? And then and then if they are like in the West, what teams would you move to the East and stuff like that?
What 2 cities deserve
a basketball team, an NBA team? Yes. I'm waiting for the next update. So if I'm not looking at the camera, it's because of that.
There's not one in Tennessee, is there?
Memphis.
Man, kind of put it hard. Let me look at the map.
I'm trying to think too.
So let me real quick. OKC did not give up the 12th pick. When they got this,
they still the 12th pick too. Okay, so I saw that pop up. I thought they got rid of it. I thought that was part of the package.
It was not part of the trade. They got 3 picks the first.
Because I saw them pop up on the 12th, so I was like, okay, it's package deal, dude. They're about to have 3 in the first round.
They selected Jalen. They selected Jalen Williams. So now we have 3 in the lottery. 3 in the lottery, people. It's not just first round. It's 3 in the lottery. Jalen Williams is, in my opinion, a dark horse getting picked up by OKC, and now you're really I
legitimately thought when I saw the 12th pick, I was like, okay, that's they're gonna give that up.
No.
Oh man.
Wow, the OKC making moves, man. Okay, Art, what are
And
your
they
thoughts
still have
on this
another one
move?
in the first round at 30.
Unless that one's gone,
Well,
we don't
true,
know.
touche. Yeah.
So we'll see. So
Holy
Art, what are your
cow.
thoughts on this?
When I saw it, I was like, man, at the end of the day, it was a great move for them to get that 11th pick. And it solidifies that comment and that statement that Trey and I just made, like this could be another run for OKC just to go back to the roots and like make a run for it. And then I know you said OKC, yeah, it's Oklahoma, blah, blah, blah. But fan base though, like I have family in Oklahoma, and fan base, they're freaking crazy fan base. So like I'm pretty sure they're going hell over heels right now. But the move that they just made and like getting 3 lottery picks, like that's like saying we're gonna make it a contention. Like we don't care what we're doing, but this is our year. Like we're gonna make a run for it.
I wouldn't say this is the year, but it's definitely a
It's
bright future.
It's letting the young guys run. That's my biggest thing.
Yes.
Like let's put these young guys in there. Let's get them some experience.
They want to play.
And then next year, let's roll. You know what I mean? Like,
Jesus,
man, that's crazy, dude.
So let's recap, guys. Chet Holmgren is now in OKC. Also, McDang is now in OKC. Jalen Williams is in OKC. You're adding it with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in OKC. So I'm going to pull up the roster real quick and see what pieces they might have to move, because obviously not these guys are lottery picks, but they don't have to start right away.
No, definitely not. But I think they might, man. Well, maybe not all 3 of them, but
yeah,
I can see Chet starting and maybe Dang. Oh man, that's some good moves though.
Because I would say outside of Gilgeous-Alexander, maybe Trey Mann I would keep, and then everyone else is expendable. Like
exactly, that's my point. They don't have anybody really.
Yeah, so it's man, OKC's making moves. Obviously, this is a 4-year plan, in my opinion. I think this is a 4-year plan to develop these guys, get the bench stronger as well, because the bench is weak as hell. It's probably the worst bench I've even seen on a roster so far. Maybe not, maybe the Rockets are, but still.
They're pretty bad though.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's in the 30s, there's only 30 teams, so man, it's insane. Now, like I said, it's a 4-year plan. I don't think it's something where they're going to be a play-in team this year. They could always fight for it, obviously. You just need to be in the 10 spot to fight there. But man, OKC making some moves. I'm, just like you said, Trey, I'm excited because now we're seeing moves being made, and we weren't getting that earlier. So
no, this is definitely a huge deal for sure.
We definitely got 2 more picks in the lottery before we end the night. We still have picks from the Hornets at 13 and the Cavaliers at 14. Cavaliers rumored to possibly be moving on one of their young guns, Trey. Let me pull it up and see just right who it is that we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just intrigued by their handshake right there. They need
to Colin Sexton is possibly rumored to be as a trade piece. What do you think Cleveland would have to do to develop? Because obviously they got Karis LeVert, Jared Allen in that Brooklyn trade and stuff like that. Well, actually, yeah, that's right. So they've got a lot of good pieces. They just didn't make it, unfortunately, far in the postseason run. What do you think Cleveland needs to do to get back into just in the playoff world?
Man, I think they do need to bring in some talent. I'm kind of curious who they're going to pick and if they are going to make some moves, afterwards, before the new season starts, because they do need to get some talent in there. Yeah, they have some pieces, but for me, it's just, you don't look at it and be like, oh, that's that guy. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see if they'll make any moves.
Did you see how many picks they have to 2027?
Who's that? OKC?
18 first-round picks?
The Rockets? Yeah.
No, OKC.
OKC.
OKC has 18 first-round picks?
Through 2027.
I want to know who they're giving.
See, so that's my point right there. Why not get rid of some of those picks? We don't need them till 2027. Let's work on 2023 and 2024,
But they obviously did, right? Like some of those picks went to New York, and that's why New York.
Well, yeah, that's my point, though. Like if they have the 18, obviously just give some up. Like you're not giving away the farm, Like it's okay.
Damn.
If
No,
OK
but
and OKC.
it's crazy, man. But going back to your question about the teams, though, I mean, Seattle used to have one. Maybe Seattle gets one back.
Actually, I've heard a
Pittsburgh.
rumor that a lot of people want Seattle to get a
Supersonics. Let's go.
because somebody
Pittsburgh.
compared. They posted like the championships, and it had the Thunder, and everybody was like, "The Thunder? I don't remember the Thunder." And they're like, "Well, it's with the Supersonics." So everybody's like, "Oh, go back to Seattle. Let's go!" Like,
I don't think they're going back to Seattle after this.
no, definitely not. But you could definitely open up one there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, Seattle might be a good one. Pittsburgh might be a good one. I know
Hawaii, bro. Hawaii.
Aloha.
Right.
That might be a good one.
The Hawaii volcanoes.
Right.
Nashville might be a good one. I know they have Memphis though, but Nashville might be a good one though.
That could be
Nashville's
huge.
actually-
I was thinking
Nashville-
Tennessee whenever he first asked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nashville's
like
a
Nashville.
very underrated city. Yeah,
For
Nashville's a
sure.
very
It's
underrated city.
huge. It's touristy too. So people will visit, Nashville and go to a game. So
How would
it could
you
be
feel-
like Vegas.
I was
yeah,
gonna
how
say
would you-
Vegas
I was
might be
gonna-
another one.
How would you feel about Vegas? We've seen obviously
Vegas,
how it affected the Raiders.
Exactly. Come on. Have you seen
That
the
would be a
average
good
price
one.
for those tickets? It's stupid.
It's stupid, and I might go, but
Well,
But I
I'm
mean-
saying I wanted to go to a Broncos game, and I'm like, dude, no,
Not worth
they're
it.
so expensive.
Nah,
hey man, just get a payment plan with a Ticketmaster. It's okay.
Touche.
payment
Uh,
plan. Get out of here.
They offer it. Shut up.
Hey,
Like,
they do.
if they offer it, I might
why not?
consider it. Like shit, I don't mind making
The
4
payment plan
payments
till
for the.
2027.
Come on, hey, 18 picks. Let's go.
Hey man, I'll trade away 18 picks right now. 18 first round picks in my fantasy football team.
Right,
The next 18 years.
right.
Um.
Jeez, man.
So Charlotte has selected their pick. They're gonna go with Jalen Duren.
Okay,
So
I was
that's-
wondering when he was getting picked.
Yeah, I'm surprised. A lot of people thought that maybe he would fall. He would go to the Spurs. Obviously, he's fallen down to 13, so almost out of the lottery. So,
I think it's a good pick for them, to be completely serious. They got a lot of young guards around them.
So for Charlotte, Trey, let me ask you this, because they had a chance to get Kenny Atkinson, the assistant for the Warriors, the assistant coach. He turned them down.
I saw
But-
that.
But
I
now
didn't get
they're
to
going to
read
go
too
for
much
Mike
into it.
D'Antoni. But now they're going for Mike D'Antoni.
I like Mike D'Antoni.
So,
Go ahead.
so let me ask, what is your thoughts on Kenny declining them? Why do you think he declined them? And what are your thoughts on them potentially getting Mike D'Antoni?
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't get to read into that too much. I saw, the newsletter about him turning them down. So I'm curious if it's like an internal thing. Or maybe he just didn't want to take that offer. Like they weren't offering him something. I don't know. So I'm curious to see, okay, let's say he declines them, D'Antoni comes in now. What makes D'Antoni say, yes, I'm going to do it compared to what he was on? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference in the comparison? So I didn't get, like I said, I didn't get to read that article. So I'm curious to see as to why he didn't take that offer.
Art, what are your thoughts on the Kenny Atkinson, Hornets, and Mike D'Antoni drama?
I
Or
think
not
it's
drama,
the same thing is it has to be something internal. Like for you to turn down a head coaching job, it
You're
has to
telling
be
Michael Jordan, the owner, no. You're telling the greatest of all time, no. So what
That's
is it?
exactly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like there had to be something internally that he was like not okay with. Maybe I don't know. Like, do you think Curry is gonna like step down after just winning another championship? Do you think he's done? And they might have just offered him the
Trade alert. Jalen Duren has been traded to the Pistons.
No, dude, I liked him on Charlotte. That was nasty.
Wait, hold on. This is a little controversial. It's one source said Hornets traded Duren to Knicks. The other one said Jalen Duren to the Pistons. This is confusing as hell. Shan, Adrian Wojnarowski, get your shit together. I don't know what the hell's going on. So Charlotte is not getting a pick after all. They've gone ahead and given it away to somebody in the
Dang,
conference, but I don't know. I don't know who. But it's crazy because they had that was their center, and they just
And that's what I'm saying. Exactly, dude. They had their guy at 5. Like that's why I'm so blown away at them trading this.
He's being rerouted to Detroit.
So it is Detroit. Dang.
So what are they getting?
So that you gotta also think he's a center. That means DeAndre Aiden is not going to Detroit.
Touche.
No, now you're just adding more.
Dude, what if Charlotte's making a move somehow? I don't think they would, but
Michael Jordan's gonna be making some moves right now. But
dude.
So I'm gonna wait to the official word of who it is. It's for sure gonna get him because one, like I said, one said Knicks, the other one said.
Man, I really like that kid going to Charlotte too, man. That's nasty. Let's see what Detroit does then, I guess.
I mean, they got rid of Jeremy. It's crazy because a lot of people critiqued it. The move for Jeremy Grant, so because they're going to get a 2025 first round pick, not a 2022, a 2025.
And sometimes I get it; it's to clear up cap space or to do other things. I understand that concept, but sometimes I'm like, dude, why? Like, let's trade our star player for a pick in 2040. It's like, why? Like, what are you doing, bro? That's wild, dude.
It's insane. So Charlotte, let's cooking. Reach out to see. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
I'm curious what they gave him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting on that report from the Knicks earlier and what they did with their stuff. Man, it's nuts. This is not how I was expecting it to end the lottery.
No, and we were literally just talking about nothing happening, and all of a sudden,
everything's happening.
Picks, literally just went crazy. That's awesome. See, that's what I like right there, man. It just causes chaos, and it just makes it more interesting.
It definitely is. So let me see if there's a report now. It looks like Sham is reporting. Well, still conflicting reports on who got Jalen Duran, but Cleveland has picked Ochai Agbaji. I'm sorry if I butchered the hell out of that, guys, but Ochai Agbaji is now going to be a Cleveland Cavalier. Don't have much to say about that pick.
I was going to say I actually don't know much about it at all.
Yeah,
I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
that one, I could be wrong. It looks like he was projected around this area. He is a 6'5". I'm assuming he's a guard then.
Guard from Kansas.
From Kansas.
Okay.
So he just won the title.
Okay.
So he's not.
So they haven't said anything about that Charlotte move, right?
I mean, no one's.
I mean, there was a rumor that they said that we're going to trade away like a day ago. They were going to trade their 13 pick and Howard out.
And
somewhere.
Howard.
Yeah, that's literally. I just looked it up right now. That's supposedly one of the rumors that they were.
I wonder if that's a part of it then.
Gordon and the 13.
Oh, Hayward.
The 15 pick.
Oh, Hayward.
Hayward. I thought you meant Dwight Howard.
That's what I was like.
Wow.
Dude, you're gonna get rid of Gordon?
Knicks are trading Kemba to Detroit. Kemba Walker is now in Detroit.
Didn't I
we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
What?
No, I said Kemba. I said Kemba to Nick to the.
I know, but I'm saying
Nets.
like we were just.
But we said about that one.
But we're talking about Kemba. But now he's being moved to Detroit. Detroit's making plays.
Detroit is trying to make some plays,
and they just got this guy.
So Kemba, Ivy, the Knicks get Jalen Duran. The Knicks will get him. Kemba goes to Detroit instead. Okay. Now, so the Knicks make the move to get back at 13, and they get Duran instead. Okay.
That's
so. I'm wondering what did Charlotte win out? What did Charlotte win out of this? The OKC picks. OKC picks. So so crazy.
That's some wild movement right there. That was awesome.
I was not expecting any of it.
No,
and
not
so
at all.
now, and I need to actually stop this and add the number 14 pick. Wow. I mean, shit. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I mean, y'all probably late at night already. I understand if y'all want to head out and get some dinner, but man, this night is going on crazy. We should have had a draft
I'm kind
party.
of curious to see if
I want
there's
to see
more
what happened. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm curious to see if they talk about it on ESPN, like what exactly kind of went down. So it's kind of wild.
Oh, okay. Ochai Agbaji is he was one of the top players in Kansas, and he's the one that led them to victory. So I think that's a huge move for Cleveland. I think that's a great move now that I'm looking more at it. It's just, guys, y'all have heard me say before, college basketball is not my big thing. It's obviously it's during football season, so it conflicts a lot. Obviously, there's games during the week, but still, like I have, there's so much other things going on. But you're getting a champion in Cleveland now. He's an NCAA champion. He moves to Cleveland. Art, what are your thoughts on this move? While I'm looking up the whole, I guess, the trade parts here. So, go ahead, Art.
No, I think just like a lot of people. Well, I mean, a lot of people have been saying, like they're excited to see what the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be doing. The Browns.
Stupid.
Another joke of a team right now, but it's exciting to see how the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be developing in the next couple seasons, though, especially next season how they're going to play.
Right.
So for them to get a caliber of player now, like how they did, I like that. So
I said it earlier. Portland traded away their 2025 first round pick to Detroit. That has now been traded to Milwaukee. So this was a 4-team trade that involved the Jalen Durant thing. It was a 4-team trade, and Detroit sent the 2025 first round pick to Milwaukee. That's just a little partial more of the drama there. So there's a lot of movement going on still right now.
That's
so
wild.
much. So Milwaukee snuck in there. So
no joke, right? They just want to be a part of the night.
So if you think about it, 3 years from now, I don't see Portland as a play-in team. I see them as a lottery team. So this is huge for the Bucks. Something to add on for Giannis in his future.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of insane.
Dude, real quick, looking at this kid's stats, he shot 41% from the three, averaging 18.8 and 21-22.
Who are we talking about?
The Ochai
Agbaji.
Yeah.
Dude, that's kind of insane stats. Like
40% from the three. Yeah.
41 from the three with 18.8 average points. Like it's kind of nuts.
Yeah. And I mean, he's a full college kid, man. I mean, he went all 4 years, a little more older pick. Charlotte had the 15th pick, and they're picking Mark Williams. That's the next draft pick right there. I am losing it, guys. I don't even know where my draft stats were. I mean, okay, so Mark Williams was a nice high pick too. He was considered big. This is they got that pick from New Orleans trade, so that must have been a different one, not considering anything going on today. Damn.
Did you see one of their the tweets, the Jalen Durant multiverse, because of all the things that's going around? That's a good one.
I don't blame them, dude. That one piece has got everybody going. There's something. They got something going on. So, all right, man. I mean, it's just insane. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more that we can talk about right there, but I think we got a good way to end this one out, guys. Before we head out, Trey, thanks for being on tonight, man. It was a lot of fun with all this stuff.
Yeah, that was some cool movements.
And then blessing for go head out Spurs new signee Jeremy Sokin or draftee says he loves the word energy. So that's definitely going to be something good for the Spurs fans. Like
maybe he could be a good 4 right away. You know.
Yep. I think he starts immediately. So Trey, we got any plugs or anything you want to share before you sign off?
Trey Parker on Instagram. I'm just happy to be on here when I can, man.
Dude, I love talking sports with you. I mean, it's so much fun.
It is. It's a blast.
Because things like this is why we love sports, man.
Yes, sir.
Art, you got any plugs, my man?
Yeah, man. Y'all can find me at _Ibarra Design. Any questions you guys have about the podcast, design-wise, anything, just shoot me up. I know there's a person out there in this Puro Pinche Sports multiverse that's been commenting on the YouTube videos. So, man, hey, we'd love to have you in so you can kind of debate some of the points that you have. And even if you don't, man, like, well, what's his man? Something.
Great Balls Mendoza.
There
Great
you go.
Balls Mendoza. He and Art were having a little Twitter YouTube feud. I mean, it was a little funny. It was not a feud, but it was a lot. The conversation was fun. I mean, check it out. It was on last episode. Episode 82.
I'm assuming he's a Jags fan. I don't know. Probably he was defending Trevor Lawrence. I was defending Justin Fields. I had to defend my boy. I told him I'm a Bears fan, so. But hey, just looking forward to see him on the podcast. You know, like if you want to come and debate us, like hey, put those comments on YouTube, and then hopefully you can make it up to the podcast too.
We'll definitely reach out and see if we can get him on one day. Guys, it's been a hell of a show. Don't forget, peeps, everyone listening or watching, this episode was sponsored by Frankie's Barbershop. Check them out. Guys, obviously, go follow us on Instagram at Puro Pinche Sports. Follow us on Twitter at Pinche Sports Pod. Your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, they all help, guys. We truly appreciate it. Everything we got from y'all. Definitely going to be talking more football along the way. Now that basketball season's over, it's definitely going to be going on. We'll even have soon our mock draft, a proper one, Art. That way, for fantasy football, and we can discuss more stuff like that. But guys, for Trey Parker, for Duro Ibarra, I am Jose Garza. We are Puro Pinche Sports, and we are out.